Thank you very much for that very great introduction that you've made, Joy. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all the participants of this webinar. My task this morning is um, to share with you on positive discipline and child protection policy. But on research, upon conducting research, I choose to name this sharing with you positive guidance and discipline. What do we mean when we say discipline? Discipline is a set of rules that govern a person's behavior and conduct. It is the process of shaping and molding a child's attitudes and behaviors over the years. Effective discipline, that which we experience at home, teaches us what to do, teaches about problem solving, and teaches appropriate interactions. That will compose our overall self discipline. Effective discipline to children promotes growth, enhances self concept, and helps children internalize. And parents are so fond of equating punishment with discipline. We punish because we think it is part of discipline. What is our definition of punishment? Punishment is defined as imposing external controls by force on children to change their behavior. That is, if we observe an uncalled for behavior, the tendency for parents is to what? Inflict pain in order to discipline. That is a type of punishment. We impose suffering. Uh, dili mag-on og TV because you are grounded. You enforce unrelated penalties. For teachers, we have always been accused of enforcing unrelated penalties. That is, uh, if you do not know how to read the the answer to a question is wrong, in the past, teachers will uh, order our children to face the wall and then sit. Personal or emotional attacks. When we observe children to be committing mistakes, we do personal or emotional attacks. Ikaw gyud, ah, bugoy gyud ka, mo gyud nang inana ka kay maot kag nawong. That is a personal and emotional attack. Why do we punish? We punish because the behavior often stops immediately. We would like the children to behave according to what we like them to behave and to stop what they are doing, which we think is a misbehavior. Children often show remorse during punishment. Uh, More often than not, children will stop doing after anything that we cannot control when we do punish them. That's why they show remorse. The parent gets to blow off steam. Nasuko man si mama o si papa. They are, during punishment, they are justified to get wild, They are justified to inflict pain because a child misbehaves. The parent then feels in control of the situation where a children or a child misbehaves. The parent hasn't let the children get away with it. So di kita musugot that our children will misbehave. Dapat maputol. Dapat they should stop doing. And more often than not, parents who inflict pain are also raised that way. So it is more like of a cycle. Which parenting style are you raised? Okay, let us see. Are you raised in a strict family that demands continuously? What demands are these? Sometimes parents demand that dapat tagas mo og grades because you don't do work at home. Wala may trabaho diri sa balay. So dapat tagas mo og grado sa school. Dapat behave gyud mo because ang atong pamilya baya mga but-an tanan. They demand continuously from the children and punishes harshly. So kung makasala ang mga bata, more often than not, in a strict family, there is severe or harsh punishment. Values obedience. So, dapat, yes, papa, yes, mama, yes, lola, yes, lolo, yes, ate, yes, kuya, because in a strict family, obedience is very important. But this setup also discourages independence and individuality. In a strict family, children do not know how to decide on their own because they are discouraged to be independent and to be their own individual self. Uh, like, ma, unsay akong suoton ugma? What color of t-shirt do I wear? Okay ra ni siyang puti or yellow? Or there are even children uh, who would wait and does not know or do not know how to decide on their own what to wear because nagsali. They always ask their parents because the home or the family discourages independence and individuality. So the bata in this household, in this family, raised in a strict home, would always ask, unsaon ako ni siya? Unsay akong desisyon? Uh, dili sila uh, independent on their own. Exercises physical punishment because the child wala na kauli dayon after a class. Sometimes our parents will uh, inflict or exercise physical punishment. Di man ka patuo, sumbagon ti ka. Okay? Resorts to yelling and threatening. Magsyagit-syagit and threatening. Ikaw, kung dili ka, patuo sa ako ah. Those are practices that is evident in a strict uh, home. Does not allow reasonable choices to the child. Sa musugot ka o sa musugot ka, mao na gyud siya ang desisyon. So, the child is left with no choice but to obey. The child raised in a strict home may lack spontaneity, curiosity, and creativity. Why? Because the creativity, the curiosity of the child is put to a halt or stopped because of the practices of a strict home. Dili. Dapat ang mga bata sulod ra gyud sa balay, sulod ra gyud sa kwarto. Dili dai mi pwedeng makig ah, dula sa amo ang playmates. Dili kay mahugaw mo. Dili kay mag-away ra mo. Very strict. Often have limited independence and assertiveness. Dili dapat mugawas, dili dapat moadto sa makigdula, diri ra gyud sulod sa balay. Okay? Don't learn how to decide for themselves because uh, they have limited independence and assertiveness, so they do not know how to decide for themselves and not sure to behave and depend instead on others for their sense of control. Sometimes uh, one friend is complementary of the other. We find friends who complement us. So a silent person will look for a happy friend. Okay? May have low self-esteem, may be aggressive and defiant because the child cannot express while at home. The child will then become aggressive and defiant in the community or in school. So permissive home sets no guidelines. Okay lang kung in a strict home, stricto kayo, dapat mauli ka at 5 o'clock. Kung mo off ang klase of 5, dili pwede o 5:30. In a permissive home, sets no guidelines. Pwedeng mauli ka, pwedeng dili. Asserts no authority. In the house, okay ra. Na ang mama, na ang papa, na ang ate, na ang kuya, wala. Distant. Bahala ka. You can eat anytime you like. Uninvolved. Okay lang. Uses excuses for not spending quality time with the child. Ay, kasabot na siya kay busy ko. Kasabot na siya nga kanang trabaho ko. Gives the child too much, and more often than not, parents will try to give in exchange of the time not spent with the children, unsay atong ihatag in lieu of the missed time, bonding time with our kids. We give them money. We give them what they like, even if what they like is not what they need. They are given too much. Low on making demands. Okay lang. Gitagaan og cellphone nga bag-o, giprinda ang cellphone, or given a very expensive phone, gibaligya, gihulaman sa friend, okay lang. Making no demands. Have little structure. The structure in the house that is described here is the structure in the family. Who decides in the family? It might be consultative. It might be that the decision maker is the papa, and upon the consultation with the mama. In this permissive home, there is very little or no structure at all. You can make your own decision. You can go anywhere. You can sleep uh, which house that you like. And uh, what's this? Parental parent is who is sometimes substance abuser or immature. That's why, as if they don't care, or they are just permissive. The child raised in a permissive home learns little self-control. So, kung the child is angry, the child is happy, the child does not know or has no self-control. Mature, maybe aggressive at home or aggressive in the community or in school, may behave irresponsibly because they have low self-esteem, delayed emotional development, and little ability to handle frustrations. So if they fail in their subjects, they are so frustrated as if ang salan ang teacher because inconsiderate, dili kabalo, but little did we know that they have uh, frustrations that are already built or pent up frustrations because they are raised in a permissive home. They are school keepers and they break law in search for attention, and more often than not, they turn to drugs. So, it is also very important that we know where our learners are coming from. What about those raised in a moderate home? Sets reasonable standards. They have reasonable expectations, encourages independence and individuality. They enforce rules firmly and consistently, and parents do allows choices and builds a more democratic relationship. That's why in this home, children are recognized or participatory because they also have individual rights. They can speak, they can open up, and the child raised in a moderate or flexible home are, or the children are responsible, independent, high in self-esteem and confidence, and better able to control their aggression or their anger. Ages and stages of children. Knowing ages and stages of our learners helps us understand the child's major job at different ages. We do not expect too much from the child too soon. It's like expecting a 3-year-old to tie his shoes. No, we do not expect elementary school children to go to the market and buy or do the groceries and buy whatever they'd like to buy or uh, gisugo sa parents to do the groceries. Ba? Because they are still in the elementary grades. They do not know how to decide on their own. This will also prevent serious problems and provide safe ways for the child to do his or her job and be ready to move on to the next stage. Reasons why children misbehave. Nga naman, nganong naman dyan mga bata nga magpabadlo? Because they would like to get the attention of the parents. Kana bang when parents already do not show that they care, that they show, they act, they function in the structure at home, children would love to misbehave because they would like to get the attention of their parents. They would like to get power, to wield power. Ano day ang mga bata mag kisi-kisi when they would like to have the thing that they ask. Dayon dili mosugot ang parents. Di ba? Mohilak magkisi-kisi because they know that they are given the thing that they asked that they would like to have when attention is already achieved. Revenge and inadequacy. So, since the beginning of humanity, we have taught our children how to resolve problems by using violence. Kung nag-away ang duha ka bata, how do our parents resolve that conflict? Our parents were taught that spanking and hitting children was the best way to discipline children, and teachers also used violence before and humiliation to punish children as a part of the educational system. Maybe some of us were products of violent discipline or punishment while we were still in the elementary. Gone are the days nga pitkan og stick because the teacher always has a stick andam mubunal for those children who misbehave in his or her class. For the Department of Education, what policies are in store? What policies are there or implemented in order to protect the rights of the child? Okay, these are the policies that we can turn to protect the rights of the child. More particularly, we have here DepEd Order number 40, Series 2012. What is this? That's DepEd Order number 40, Series 2012. That's the Child Protection Policy. Okay. Asa man taan na as teachers. Punishment versus discipline. In our website, we have uploaded Positive Discipline in Everyday Teaching. This is a primer for Filipino teachers. Uploaded no, way back in November 2015. And we can readily take a look at that, and uh, we will also know what is positive discipline in everyday teaching. What is it? PDET. Positive discipline in everyday teaching is a positive approach in classroom management. That is if we have the face-to-face modality when we are already allowed, like in the past, the before COVID days. PDET, is it about corporal punishment? What is the PDET approach? Positive discipline is an approach to teaching that helps children succeed, give them the information they need to learn, and supports their development. It respects children's right to healthy development, protection from violence, and active participation in learning. So, what is positive discipline? More often than not, children will, teachers will ask, you are only concerned of protecting children's rights, but what about our rights as teachers? We will use the same law also in protecting teachers because we already know that it is bawal ato pa di ang himuon. positive discipline is not permissiveness. So if positive discipline, if child protection only respects child's rights, so di na lang wa na lang ni himuon as teachers. Bahala diag magsirko balintong sila. They can do anything. Permissiveness. It is not. Positive discipline is not permissiveness. It is not letting students do whatever they want. It is not having no rules, limits, or expectations. Okay lang. Bahala diyan ng mga estudyante ha kung mo finish sila sa ilang modules, kung attend sila sa klase online, bahala sila. They can do whatever they like. But that is not positive discipline. And it is not short-term reactions. Punishment is a short-term reaction. Kinaay gibuhat ang bata, naisala, then we inflict the pain in order to stop. But we are thinking of positive discipline is not alternative punishment to slapping, hitting, and shaming. What then is positive discipline? It is about finding long-term solutions that develop students' own self-discipline. Because we would like children to imbibe self-discipline, so we always say to them, when you come to class, please be punctual. When you submit your modules, you have to submit on time. Self-discipline. Instill self-discipline. So, dili gyud na malate, mag-attend og klase, dili gyud na siya malate, mo submit og modules, filled up modules, dili gyud na siya mo absent in doing what is required as a student. Clear and consistent communication, because the child, the bata feels comfortable, so the bata would constantly communicate with the teacher in clear and consistent communication, because that is also what the teacher is giving to the bata. Consistent reinforcement of your expectations, rules, and limits. It's like saying, okay naman ko, kay nakasubmit naman ko. But if the bata is that disciplined, the bata or the learner will say, Ma'am, unsa na say bag-o, unsa na say sunod nato nga himuon. We have to study. No, you have to review. You have to study. You have to read the first 2 or 3 pages so that you already have the idea of our next lesson. Okay? Based on knowing your students and being fair. Positive discipline is based on knowing your learners and being fair. It's like saying, nanong gasyagit man to siya? O nakadungog ta nga og bata nga gasyagit, nanong gasyagit to siya? Wa joy batasan. Kaayurang bunalan, kaayurang sagpaon. But nagsyagit dito siya because the bata is already hungry or the bata is angry. So, mas maayo nga we should know what is the reason for the action, aimed at building a mutually respectful relationship with your learners, with your students. Many parents, much more karon nga parents are the learning facilitators at home. When we did our paaralan sa tahanan advocacy in the different districts, we were asked, we were bombarded questions na di gyud mi ana ma'am kay ang among mga bata dili gyud halos patuo sa amoa. Mas motuo pa kaayo sa ilahang ma'am because the teacher already built a mutually respectful relationship with their students. Ngano di ay nga ang mga estudyante mas sometimes mas maka-open up sa ilang teachers than their parents because they have already cultivated a mutually respectful relationship. Teaching students lifelong skills and fostering their love of learning. We remember teachers, uy, gwapo biya gyud kay to siya nga teacher because kadto biya gyud siya ang gatudlo sa akoa on the habit of doing my assignments immediately after our dinner, fostering love of learning, teaching courtesy, nonviolence, empathy, self-respect, and respect for others and their rights. Matiman-an gyud na nato sila. Kinsa na ang mga teachers in elementary because they are empathetic to us when we were kids. They taught us self-respect and respect for others who taught us and reinforced our learning about the magic words. Maybe our parents were able to instill to us what are those magic words, but it was our elementary school teachers, our kindergarten teachers, or our high school teachers who taught us or underscored teachings on obedience, courtesy, nonviolence, empathy, self-respect, and respect for others and their rights. And increasing students' competence and what's this? Competence and confidence to handle situations, academic challenges, and other difficult situations. Okay? So, positive discipline is holistic, strength-based, constructive, of course, not destructive, inclusive, participatory because we ask the side of our learners. We consider how they feel, we consider and respect their rights, and they it is proactive. What are these PDET building blocks? It is uh, respecting the child rights principles, the pedagogical principles. It is setting long-term goals. It's like saying we have to uh, teach our children to be resilient or to have patience in order that when they are already adult or old, they will be able to decide and be more patient, uh, or cultivating the love for the spirituality of children, letting them always to go to church on Sundays so that when they are already adult, it's setting long-term goals that they will grow spiritually adjusted, mature, and able to cultivate maturity and being adjusted to providing warmth, providing structure when they are already parents also understanding child development, recognizing individual differences, thereby solving problems at home, in the community, in the family, making them better citizens of the Republic of the Philippines. That's that covers our topic on positive guidance and discipline. Let us all remember that students who are loved at home come to school to learn, and students who are not come to school to be loved. We just hope that this pandemic will be gone, mawala na ang COVID so that we can be back to our face-to-face modality with our children so that we can be in touch with them, we can give the learning that they need, and if the children will not come to school because of learning, then we can give them the love that they need. We now come to uh, the additional discussion or sharing on child protection policy and the need for it. Do we still need uh, child protection policy in the new normal? Of course, we still need child protection policy because in the new normal, there is a study that says that abuses against children are taking place already in their respective homes. Okay? These are the report on the incidence of child abuses in schools, but this report is somewhat old, but the study reflected that there are really incidents of child abuses in schools that were committed already in the past. Let's see. For Region 10, we recorded five cases for school year 2013 and 2014, and 74 cases for school year 2014 and 2015. What are the efforts of the Department of Education in order to protect our children? We have the Child Protection Policy, which is DepEd Order 40, Series 2012. We have the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. We have the guidelines on CAR, or Children at Risk, and CICL, or Children in Conflict with the Law, and the Protection of Children in Armed Conflict. DepEd Order 40, Series 2012 is the response of the Department of Education to ensure that schools are a safe place for the education of children. It is the best interest of the child that is of paramount consideration in all decisions and actions involving children. So, this is a zero tolerance policy for any act of child abuse, exploitation, violence, discrimination, bullying, and other related offenses. So, what then is who then is a child? Kinsa may affected with this, or who is covered with uh, DepEd Order 40, Series 2012. Any person below 18 years of age or those over but are unable to fully take care or protect themselves because of a physical or mental disability or condition, or pupils or students who may be 18 years of age or older but are still in school. So 18 and or any person below 18. Okay. What are the prohibited acts? Prohibited acts include child abuse, discrimination against children. Kabalo naman taon sa ng child abuse, discrimination against children. Ayaw pa, ayaw lingkod sa atubang kay mauton ra ba ka? Ayaw lingkod sa atubang kay dako kay kaglikod. Child exploitation. Ikaw hakot og tubig kay dako kag lawas. Violence against children in school. We inflict pain because we would like to discipline children. And we do that. And that is observed in school. Corporal punishment. Gan are the days nga kung malate og flag ceremony, painitan, pakantahon ang bata, under the heat of the sun, palimpyuhon sa tibok eskwelahan, ipag-gather og tanan nga mga basura, or any analogous or similar acts, and bullying or peer abuse. When we say bullying, it is between learner and learner. Dili pwede ang gibully ko sa ako ang estudyante because there is no bullying when the uh, bata is doing it to a teacher or the teacher is doing it. Gibully ko sa akong teacher. No. Bullying is co-equal. So, classmate sila, gibully niya iyahang classmate. That's peer abuse. If it is a teacher doing that to the child, that's already child abuse. Okay. What are the duties and responsibilities of the school? Ensure the institution of effective child protection policy and procedures and monitor compliance thereof. We are happy to tell everyone that all of our schools in the division of Ozami City already has a crafted child protection policy in their respective schools. Ensure that the school adopts a child protection policy, that is DepEd Order 40 Series 2012. Ensure all pupils, students, or learners, school personnel, parents, guardians, or custodians, and visitors and guests are made aware of CPP, or Child Protection Policy. Organize and convene the Child Protection Committee for the school and conducts capacity building activities for the CPC and guidance counselor or guidance teacher. This is one activity that may be classified as capability building as we refresh our master teachers with what is DepEd Order 40 Series 2012. Conduct disciplinary proceedings in cases of offenses committed by pupils or students or learners. Ensure that the participatory and other rights of children are respected and upheld in all matters and procedures affecting their welfare, and maintain a record of all proceedings related to bullying or peer abuse and submit after each school year to the division office. Okay? Conduct appropriate training like this as Cap B on child protection measures and protocols, and ensure that the school adopts a student code of conduct. And then, should there be any cases, coordinate with the DSWD or appropriate NGOs or NGAs on child protection hotline, and ensure that all incidents are addressed in accordance with proper protocols and reports to the division office. Who are members of the Child Protection Committee? All public and private elementary and secondary schools shall establish a Child Protection Committee uh, that is composed of school head or the administrator as chair, guidance counselor or guidance teacher as member, teacher representative, parent representative from the PTA may not necessarily be the PTA president, student representative, pwedeng nga dili siya SSG president, and barangay representative or barangay councilor in charge for BCPC or Barangay Committee for the Protection of Children. Dili necessary nga barangay kapitan kay should there be any cases from the school to the barangay, it will definitely fall into the hands of the barangay kapitan. Okay? What are the administrative disciplinary measures? Protective and remedial measures to address corporal punishment and other acts of violence by school personnel. Uh, conduct conduct of investigation and reporting of cases by school heads or SDS shall forward the complaint to disciplining authority within 48 hours. So if it is a teacher, the disciplining authority is with the regional director. If it is a non-teaching personnel, the SDS is the disciplining authority. Then the disciplining authority shall conduct a fact-finding investigation so that report uh, will be done following the timelines, and disciplining authority shall impose administrative sanctions. So let us all remember that when children are treated with kindness and respect, they learn to treat others with respect and kindness too. I hope that our sharing, our revisiting of our uh, policies and guidelines on child protection policy, at the same time on positive discipline, will uh, remind our master teachers, as they are the curriculum innovators, to make all lessons, to make all learnings of our learners be done with utmost respect and kindness. Because when children are treated with kindness and respect, they also learn to treat others with respect and kindness, making everything in this world, every place in this world, a lovable place to live in. Okay, we now come to the third topic that we will touch. We will discuss this morning about the role of parents as learning facilitators, especially that we are now in the new normal. It is said that a kid's education starts from and parent involvement has always mattered because parental involvement is very important. But in the new normal, how is it fair to ask parents to do more in these challenging times? Nagka-COVID na gani, magproblema pa ta og bugas, magproblema pa ta og sudan. We do not have work, the usual uh, thing to do. Unya, labad-labaron pag yun ulo aning kuan. style karon sa DepEd nga ang mutudlo ang mga parents naman hinoon. Is it fair to ask parents to do more during these challenging times? I guess because it is uh, the primary or primordial responsibility of parents to get involved in the education of their children. But practically speaking, how is that supposed to work? Mag-work man ko, ako pag yun mo magtudlo sa ako ang mga bata. Magkuan na lang, magtunga na lang mi sa teacher. Kay ako may mutudlo, naaman sa balay ra ang mga bata. So ako gyud gatudlo, kami gyud nga naa sa balay mo oy nangunay. How can parents do something they themselves have a hard time doing? Kalisod man gani ko sa unang tuon, kalisod man gani ko sa una. So kami pa gyud mo oy i-burden ani karon. What advice can we give to parents as our academic partners? Ingon, kami pag yung magtudlo-tudlo? No, they are not teachers, but they are learning facilitators. Teacher that does not operate under the traditional concept of teaching, amoingon gyud og sige na, good morning class. Our lesson for today is about science. Inana ba? No. As learning facilitators, they will guide and assist students or learners or their kids in learning for themselves. Tanang module, dili na angay kahadlukan because these are self-learning modules. Picking apart ideas from the readings, forming their own thoughts about the subject, and owning material through self-exploration and dialogue. One thing nga kahadlukan sa mga ginikanan because there are children na ay ilang mga anak na dili kabalo mo basa. That is why they are terrified with modules. So the role of a parent as learning facilitator is to enhance and support parent involvement initiatives that focus on improving student achievement. Primarily, ang himuon sa parent is to provide learning space. Gamay nga, dili pud ingon nga gamay nga suok. Gamay nga corner in the house. Gamay na gyud kay mong balay, ma'am. Dili na gyud pwede, ma'am. Kung naay space sa front yard, naay space ilalom sa mangga, ilalom sa mansanitas with a very small lamisa, they can always do that. They can always impart and imbibe discipline na dili lang gyud po duklon, dili birahon, dili susian ang ilahang mga bata. Ingnon nga, ugma mo matataog sayo kay ang inyo rabang klase will start at 9 o'clock. So by 7 o'clock, mata na gyud ta, kay maligo ta. Parents as learning facilitator should establish discipline in the timelines kanang ilahang class program nakauras na siya di ana. So i-inspire sa parent to follow, to still be punctual, to still follow the class program. What are the roles of each parent in distant learning? We define parent as key participant. Pag-apil sa learning. So ano ko pag-apil nga wala naman ko anak kabalo. Lahi naman among lesson sa una. Lahi na gyud among leksyon wa ako anak kaagi. That is why we have to get involved as a participant, BBB, unsaon man ni siya, B. After all, they should know if the parent will get involved as a participant. Kay balo sila na dito pa lamang di ay na natoy guide for guide answers sa mga activities di adto nga naa sa module. They should be active learners also or kabahin. Participant, pag-apil. Active learner, kabahin sila sa learning sa ilahang mga kabataan. Reinforcer, gihingusgan, gisuportaan nila. Dili kay, nahuman mo ang module, wala. Wala man ko ganahe, oy. Sagdi lang, ingna lang si Ma'am Liadto nga. Dili ko ganahan mo basa. How do we become reinforcer? Atong hingusgan kung asa dapit ang weakness sa bata. Then we also underscore ato ang review ha kuno bi, putro ha kuno og basa kung mao ba gihapon na ang imong pagsabot. Suportaan kung asa ang gusto sa bata, kung asa ang dapat need sa bata nga i-review, atong i-reinforce. Enthusiast. Enthusiast is being attached, being interested. Dili kay, ikaw na lang di ana, ikaw bitaw estudyante, apilan pa lang ko grado hinuon ni ma'am. Basta di ana, ako mo'y maunor, dili ikaw. We do not give interest to the learning of the bata if we are not like that, if we are like that. And as teachers, the more that we have to be like a parent. Bahala na sa dianak magtuwad pa na sila dianak. How do we nurture? How do we encourage? Unsaon na to paglambo sa ato ang mga learner if we as teachers are not nurturers. Of course, the T is a teacher. Magtutudlo. Magtutudlo. Teacher. Mentor. Parent. If we are a parent to our own kids and we consider our schools, our classrooms as class homes, then we should be a participant, an active learner, a reinforcer, an enthusiast, a nurturer, and a teacher to our learners also. I guess that is all for uh, my sharing to all the master teachers of the division of Ozami City. I hope that I shared something of a learning for you this day. It is with a great hope that as we are also parents, we become mentors, we become nurturers of great, not only great student leaders, but great men and women of Ozami City. God bless everyone and thank you very much for your undivided attention. Good morning.